Peppa's Bedtime Treasury. A trip to the moon. It is a lovely sunny day, and George and his friend Edmund are playing with their space toys in the garden. Oh dear! Edmund's space toy has landed on Peppa's head. She is not happy. "Are you going to the moon, boys?" asks Daddy Pig. "It's just boring space stuff for babies, Daddy," says Peppa. "It's not real." "Space is real, Peppa," replies Daddy Pig. Mummy Pig tells the children about a show at the museum. It is all about the moon. "That sounds fun. Shall we go and see it?" asks Daddy Pig. George and Edmund laugh. They want to see the show. At the museum, they all buy tickets. "Are we really going to go to the moon?" Peppa asks. "No, Peppa, it's just pretend," Miss Rabbit tells her. Mr. Rabbit is the tour guide. "This way for our trip to the moon," he calls, leading them inside. "Prepare for takeoff." "We live on a planet. Does anyone know what it's called?" Mr. Rabbit asks as the rocket departs. "Earth?" Daddy Pig guesses. "That's right!" Mr. Rabbit smiles. "And what is the moon made of?" Mr. Rabbit asks next. "The moon is made of cheese, of course," Daddy Pig jokes. But Mr. Rabbit doesn't find it very funny. "No, the moon is made of rock. This is a serious tour, so no jokes, please." "It is pretend though, isn't it?" Peppa asks. "Yes, Peppa. If it was the real moon, you could jump over my head," Mr. Rabbit tells her. "Gravity is what keeps us on the ground, and it is weaker on the moon, so you can jump higher," Mr. Rabbit says. Some big rubber bands drop down, and Mr. Rabbit straps everyone in. Peppa and the others feel like they are jumping on the moon. It is so much fun! Miss Rabbit tells them to say "moon cheese" as she takes a picture. It is the end of the tour, so Miss Rabbit takes everyone to the moon shop. "How about some real moon cheese?" says Miss Rabbit. "How much is it?" asks Daddy Pig. £5, please," says Miss Rabbit. £5? snorts Daddy Pig. "It's all for a good cause," says Miss Rabbit. "I like the moon now because it's very interesting," says Peppa, holding a picture of everybody bouncing on the moon. "And very tasty," laughs Daddy Pig, eating his yummy moon cheese. Okay, now let's continue to the next story. The Fancy Dress Party. Peppa and George are having a fancy dress party. All their friends are invited. Peppa is dressed as a fairy princess, and George is a dinosaur. All the guests are arriving. Rebecca Rabbit is dressed as a carrot, and Susie Sheep has come as a nurse. "Hello, Susie," says Daddy Pig. "Have you just come from the hospital?" "I'm not a real nurse," says Susie Sheep. "It's just pretend." "Hello, Susie," says Peppa. "I'm Princess Peppa. You must bow when you speak to me." Susie Sheep bows. "Woof woof! I'm a pirate! Shiver me timbers!" says Danny Dog. "Nay, I'm a clown!" says Pedro, tooting his horn. "Rebecca, why are you dressed as a carrot?" Danny asks. "Because I like carrots," says Rebecca. "George does his best dinosaur roar and scares everybody." Peppa is playing by herself. She pretends the mirror is magic. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" "You are, Peppa," she giggles. It's time to judge the fancy dress competition. "As it's Peppa's party," says Daddy Pig, "she can be the judge and decide who has the best costume." The guests show off their outfits. "I'm a pirate! Shiver me timbers!" says Danny Dog. "I'm a nurse who makes people better," says Susie Sheep. Candy Cat waves her wand at Peppa. "I'm a witch, and I can turn you into a frog," she says. "Well, I'm a fairy princess, and I can turn you into a frog," cries Peppa. It is time to announce the winner. "Everyone's costume is very good," says Peppa. "But the winner is me!" "Peppa, you can't pick yourself. You're the judge," whispers Mummy Pig. "Oh, can't I?" asks Peppa. "You have to pick another winner," Mummy Pig says quietly. "Okay, the carrot wins," says Peppa. "Hooray! Rebecca Rabbit has won the fancy dress competition." "Thank you," Rebecca says. "Peppa loves fancy dress parties. Everyone loves fancy dress parties." That's the end of story 2. Now let's move on to the next story. Horsey Twinkle Toes. Peppa and George are playing in their bedroom. "Dinosaur! Grrr!" says George. Just then, the doorbell rings. Ding dong! It's Mr. Zebra, the postman, with a parcel. "It's probably that box of reinforced concrete I ordered," says Daddy Pig. But it's not Daddy Pig's reinforced concrete. It's a parcel for Peppa and George. "Look at all those stamps," says Peppa. "A parcel! How exciting!" says Mummy Pig. The parcel has come from Auntie Dottie, who lives in a different country far away. She has sent a letter too. "Dear Peppa and George, here is a present for you to share. Love from your Auntie Dottie." Peppa and her family opened the parcel. The present has wheels, legs, a tail, and a handle. Whatever can it be? Asks Mummy Pig. There's one last thing in the box. A horse's head! The present is a toy horse. I shall call it Twinkle Toes, says Peppa. Horsey, says George. Twinkle Toes, says Peppa. Horsey, says George. The present is for both of you, says Daddy Pig. You will have to share it. Sharing can be fun. Peppa and George take turns. George is the youngest, so he gets to go first. George likes playing with Horsey. Next, it's Peppa's turn. I'm Princess Peppa with my magic horse Twinkle Toes. Peppa likes playing with Twinkle Toes. Peppa knocks over some boxes in the hallway. I think you should play outside where there's more space, says Mummy Pig. Daddy Pig thinks it's a bit steep for Peppa and George to play near the house. I'll just ride it down to the bottom of the hill, he says. Be careful, Daddy, shouts Peppa. Daddy Pig goes too fast and lands in the duck pond. Silly Daddy, says Peppa. Did you know you have a duck on your head? Asks Mummy Pig. Peppa pushes George round and round the duck pond. Horsey, says George. Twinkle Toes, says Peppa. I know, says Peppa. Because the present's for both of us, let's call it Horsey Twinkle Toes. What a good idea, say Mummy and Daddy Pig. Okay, are you ready for the next story? Mr. Fox's Shop. Mommy and Daddy Pig are wrapping up a present for Granny and Grandpa Pig's wedding anniversary. It's a glass vase. That's a bit of a boring present, says Peppa. Ho, ho, laughs Daddy Pig. It's a present for grown-ups. Peppa and George want to buy Granny and Grandpa Pig a present too. George gets their piggy bank to see how much money they have. We have 1 penny and 2 buttons to spend, says Peppa. Peppa, George, Mummy, and Daddy Pig head to Mr. Fox's shop with a piggy bank. Peppa is very excited about buying Granny and Grandpa Pig a present. When they arrive, they open Mr. Fox's shop door and the bell rings. Ding-a-ling-ling! Hello, how can I help you? Says Mr. Fox. It's Granny and Grandpa Pig's wedding anniversary, says Mummy Pig. They are both very old and need a present, explains Peppa. My shop has everything, replies Mr. Fox. I'm sure you'll find something. A big teddy, cries Peppa, picking a teddy bear from the shelf. I love it. This can be the present. The present is not for you, says Mummy Pig. It's for Granny and Grandpa. Oh yes, says Peppa, disappointed. Do they like digging in the garden? Asks Mr. Fox. Yes, replies Peppa. Why not get them buckets and spades? Asks Mr. Fox. They have spades and buckets and forks and everything, says Peppa. I know, cries Peppa. Grandpa likes sailing his boat. Say no more, says Mr. Fox. I have everything a sailor could wish for. Do you have pirate's treasure? Asks Peppa. Ah, says Mr. Fox. Everything except pirate's treasure. Oh, Peppa and George sigh disappointed. How about this plastic oak chair? Suggests Mr. Fox. Is it comfortable? Asks Daddy Pig. You can't sit on it, warns Mr. Fox. You just look at it, because it looks nice. That's not much fun, says Peppa, even for a grown-up. My shop sells everything, says Mr. Fox. There must be something you like. There is, cries Peppa, picking up the teddy bear again. I like this teddy, and I think Granny and Grandpa would like it too. Ho, ho, laughs Daddy Pig. Let's buy the teddy then. A very good choice, says Mr. Fox. Who's going to pay? George empties the piggyback onto the shop counter. 1 penny and 2 buttons, says Mr. Fox. Here's your change. 1 button. Thank you, Mr. Fox, replies Peppa. Happy anniversary! Cheers Mummy Pig as Granny opens the vase. Oh, another glass vase, says Grandpa, not very excited. Then, Granny opens the present from Peppa and George. A teddy bear, she says delighted. Thank you, Peppa and George. It's the best present we've ever had. That's the end of the 4th story. Are you ready for the next one? Here we go. The Naughty Tortoise. It's autumn, and Tiddles the tortoise is going to sleep for the winter. But Tiddles isn't sleepy, so he has run away and climbed a tree. How are we going to rescue him? Asks Peppa. I'll ring the fire brigade, replies Dr. Hamster. Stand clear, shouts Mummy Elephant when the fire engine arrives. She puts the ladder against the tree, and Mummy Cow starts to climb up towards Tiddles. Mummy Cow reaches the top of the ladder, but Tiddles climbs higher. Come here, you little pickle, calls Mummy Cow. Be careful, Mummy Cow, shouts Mummy Elephant. But Mummy Cow climbs onto a branch and gets stuck. Cows are not very good at climbing trees. Hang on, cries Mummy Elephant. I'm coming up. Mummy Elephant climbs onto a different branch, and she gets stuck too. Elephants are not very good at climbing trees either. What are we going to do now? Asks Peppa. I'll call another rescue service, says Dr. Hamster. Grandad Dog's breakdown truck. Says Grandad Dog when he arrives. How do you get tortoises out of trees? Shall I climb up? Yes, please, replies Dr. Hamster. Grandad Dog climbs onto the first branch in the tree. Oh! says Grandad Dog. I seem to be stuck. Dogs are not very good at climbing trees either. Now what are we going to do? Asks Peppa. We'll have to call the highest rescue service in the land, replies Dr. Hamster. Miss Rabbit arrives in her rescue helicopter. Hello, everyone, she calls down. Now, let's rescue this tortoise. Miss Rabbit puts her helicopter on autopilot and climbs down the ladder to the tree. Got you, you little rascal, says Miss Rabbit, reaching out and grabbing Tiddles from the top of the tree. Then she carries him safely down to the ground. Thank you for saving my Tiddles, says Dr. Hamster. No problem, says Miss Rabbit, climbing up the ladder to rescue Mummy Elephant, Mummy Cow, and Granddad Dog. Thank you for saving us too, they cry. Just doing my job, replies Miss Rabbit. What a naughty tortoise you are, says Dr. Hamster. Tiddles yawns. Oh good, now you're sleepy, says Dr. Hamster. Back in your box you go. Tiddles has gone to sleep for the winter and will wake again in the springtime. Shh, whispers Peppa. Everyone giggles very quietly. Okay, let's continue to the next story. Pedro's Pirate Treasure. Peppa and her friends have dressed up as pirates. Danny Dog is on board his pirate ship. Are you ready to play? He asks. Yes, we are! Everyone cheers in pirate voices. Pedro Pony guards the pirate ship, while Danny, Peppa, Susie Sheep, and Freddy Fox search for treasure. First, Danny finds a pine cone. Then Peppa finds a shell. Susie finds some rope, and Freddy finds a pebble. Everyone loves playing pirates and searching for treasure. Meanwhile, back at the pirate ship, Pedro starts to feel sleepy. He takes off his glasses and falls asleep against a tree trunk. Boo! Cry the pirates, creeping up on Pedro and waking him up. Oh! Gasps Pedro, surprised. Sorry, I fell asleep. We've got treasure to put in the treasure chest, says Peppa, showing Pedro. Everyone puts their treasure on the ground. Pedro guards the ship again, while the rest of the pirates head off to find a place to bury their treasure. Over a hill and round the little bush they go. Hurrah! Let's bury it here, cheers Danny. Freddy digs a hole. Danny puts the treasure chest inside and covers it with soil. How will we know where we've buried it? Asks Susie. Let's make a treasure map, says Peppa. Peppa draws a treasure map. Over the hill, round the little bush, an X marks the spot. Danny draws an X on the ground to mark where the treasure is buried, and the pirates head back to their ship. When they get back, Mummy Pony arrives to collect Pedro. Stop! Shouts Pedro, guarding the ship. Who goes there? I'm your mummy, says Mummy Pony. Where are your glasses, Pedro? Mummy Pony asks. Oh no, says Pedro. I think I put them in the buried treasure chest. We can find them with our treasure map, cheers Peppa. Mummy Pony uses Peppa's map to find the buried treasure. Over the hill, round the little bush, an X marks the spot, says Peppa. Peppa's map leads them straight to the treasure. After Freddy digs it up, Pedro looks at it very closely. My glasses! He cries. Hurrah! Everyone cheers. Treasure maps are very useful, says Peppa. Especially for finding glasses if you accidentally bury them, adds Pedro. Ha ha ha! Everyone laughs. Okay, ready for the next story? Here we go! The Rainbow. Today, Peppa and her family are going for a drive to the mountains. Are we nearly there yet? Asks Peppa. Hee hee, not yet, Peppa, says Mummy Pig. Peppa and George sigh. Car trips can sometimes be a bit boring. Let's play a game, says Daddy Pig. We each have to spot a car that is our favorite color. Yippee, says Peppa and George. Candy Cat and her mommy are driving in their car. Green was my favorite color. I win, Daddy Pig says. Candy and Peppa wave at each other. Look! Danny Dog is driving in Grandad Dog's orange truck. It's orange, so I win, says Mummy Pig. There isn't a red car anywhere, says Peppa. There is one red car on the road, says Daddy Pig. What color is our car? It's red, says Peppa. My favorite color. I win! Yay! The car climbs up and up the mountain until it reaches the top. Everyone gets out of the car. Look at the lovely sunny view, says Daddy Pig. But seconds later, it begins to pour with rain, and everyone gets very wet. Daddy Pig spots Miss Rabbit's ice cream stall. 4 ice creams, please, Miss Rabbit, says Daddy Pig. What flavors would you like? Asks Miss Rabbit. Mint, orange, strawberry, and blueberry, please, says Daddy Pig. Everyone is very happy. They each have an ice cream in their favorite color. They sit in the car, eating their ice creams and watching the rain fall. Mmm, yummy, Peppa says. Look, the sun has come out, says Mummy Pig. A rainbow, hee hee, giggles Peppa. Peppa and George love rainbows. It has all our favorite colors in it, says Mummy Pig. What's at the end of the rainbow? Asks Peppa. Treasure, says Mummy Pig. Can we go and find it? Says Peppa. That sounds like fun. Let's go, says Daddy Pig. Where's our rainbow gone? Asks Peppa. It's moved to the next hill, says Mummy Pig. Oh, you cheeky rainbow, giggles Peppa. Quick, let's catch it, says Daddy Pig, starting the car again. They drive in the car to the next hill. It stopped raining, says Daddy Pig. And the rainbow has gone, says Peppa. Wah! cries George. Don't worry, George. Maybe the rainbow has left some treasure behind, says Mummy Pig. Daddy Pig spots something. Have you found the rainbow's treasure, Daddy? Asks Peppa. Yes, I have, says Daddy Pig with a smile. It's a big muddy puddle. They all jump in the puddle together. This is the best rainbow treasure ever, says Peppa. Okay, let's continue to the next story. The Toy Cupboard. It is Peppa and George's bedtime. Goodness, cries Mummy Pig. Why are all these toys on your bed? That's where they live, giggles Peppa. The toy basket is full. Mummy and Daddy Pig decide that Peppa and George really need a toy cupboard. Let's buy one on the computer, says Mummy Pig. Hooray! Everyone cheers. The next day, Mr. Zebra, the postman, delivers the toy cupboard. Oh, it looks a bit flat, sighs Peppa. Don't worry, your Mommy and Daddy will build it for you, says Mr. Zebra. Daddy Pig empties all the pieces onto the floor. That's odd, says Daddy Pig. There aren't any instructions. Maybe it's so easy to build it doesn't need instructions, suggests Mummy Pig. Everyone helps Mummy Pig build the toy cupboard and very soon it is finished. Well done, Mummy Pig, shouts Peppa. Hee hee, laughs George. That's strange. The toy cupboard is very small. How will all our toys fit inside? Asks Peppa. The cupboard is tiny because Mummy Pig has not used all the pieces. Oh dear. If only we had the instructions, sighs Daddy Pig. Mr. Zebra has found the instructions in his van. I'll build it for you, says Mr. Zebra. Mummy Pig, Daddy Pig, Peppa and George fetch Mr. Zebra a cup of tea and some biscuits. Mr. Zebra has put the toy cupboard together and placed the toys inside, but there's no room for the last two. Poor Teddy and Mr. Dinosaur! Where are they going to live? Cries Peppa. I have an idea, says Mummy Pig. Teddy and Mr. Dinosaur can live on your beds. But that's where they were before, says Peppa. I know, smiles Mummy Pig. That's why it's such a good idea. Okay, ready for another story? Okay, here we go. The train ride. Today, Madame Gazelle, Peppa and her friends are going on a train ride. Can I see your tickets, please? Mr. Rabbit asks them. The children wave their tickets in the air. Oh no, I've lost my ticket, Pedro cries. There's your ticket, Madame Gazelle says, pointing to a ticket on the ground. Try not to lose it again, says Mr. Rabbit, smiling. Miss Rabbit is the train driver. All aboard! She calls as the train pulls into the station. The children and Madame Gazelle jump onto the train. The train pulls out of the station and heads down the hill. Madame Gazelle gives the children an activity sheet. They have to spot a boat, a signal box, and a tunnel. Just then, Peppa says, I can see Granddad Dog. Ahoy there! Grandad Dog calls. Hooray! The children cheer, and then they take both on their activity sheets. Pedro doesn't feel very well, so Madame Gazelle lets him go to the front of the train. Miss Rabbit lets him wear her hat and drive the train for a bit, which makes him feel much better. The train puffs slowly uphill. The train puffs quickly downhill. Whee! Cry the children. The train stops at the junction to let Mrs. Duck and her friends safely across. A signal box! That's in our list, says Peppa. Hooray! The children cheer, and then they take signal box on their activity sheets. The train sets off again. Toot toot! Suddenly, it all goes dark. Ooh, we're in a tunnel, Peppa says. The children take tunnel on their activity sheets. Last stop, Miss Rabbit calls. But Madame Gazelle, how will we get home? Peppa asks. We are home, Peppa, Madame Gazelle replies. The train has gone in a big circle, so they are right back where they started. Tickets, please, Mr. Rabbit says one last time. When Pedro lifts up the hat, there is his ticket. Oh, that's where I put it, Pedro says, and everybody giggles. And here's the last story. The Wishing Well. Grandpa Pig is showing Peppa and George his plants. He is very proud of his garden. What is this, Grandpa? Asks Peppa. It's a weed, replies Grandpa. A cheeky plant growing in the wrong spot. We must get rid of it. Granny Pig joins them in the garden. This little plastic gnome is going to live in our garden, says Granny. His name is Mr. Gnome. Oh no, he isn't, snorts Grandpa. He looks funny. Peppa and George, says Granny, do you think Mr. Gnome looks funny? No, Granny, replies Peppa. I think he looks cute. Cute, agrees George. You're outnumbered, I'm afraid, Grandpa, cries Granny. Mr. Gnome is staying in the garden. Just then, Mr. Bull arrives with a truck full of gnomes. Gardens are for plants, not plastic, Grandpa tells Mr. Bull. We don't want gnomes. But these are Granny's gnomes, says Peppa. Oh, it appears we do want gnomes, says Grandpa. Okie dokie, says Mr. Bull, tipping them on the grass. Peppa, George, and Granny Pig stare at the enormous pile of gnomes. They make the garden look messy. Wow, says Peppa. They are lovely. But Grandpa Pig doesn't think so. I have this for you too, says Mr. Bull, giving Granny and Grandpa Pig a big box. Thank you, Mr. Bull. That's my plastic well, says Granny. What's the point of a well without water? Asks Grandpa. It's a wishing well, says Granny. You throw a coin into it and make a wish. Ooh, can I make a wish? Peppa asks. Of course, Peppa, replies Granny, giving Peppa and George a coin each. Peppa and George throw their coins into the well and make a wish. Later, Peppa tells Grandpa Pig what they wished for. We wish that we could have a wishing well and gnomes in our garden too, Peppa says. I think we can make that wish come true, says Grandpa. Grandpa Pig drives Peppa and George home to Mummy and Daddy Pig. Mummy! Daddy! Cries Peppa. I made a wish! What did you wish for, Peppa? Asks Daddy Pig. Lots of gnomes and a wishing well for our garden! Cries Peppa. I don't think we have enough room for all those gnomes, says Mummy Pig, looking at the big pile Grandpa is carrying. Nonsense, replies Grandpa. You've got plenty of room. Oh, says Daddy Pig uncertainly. I suppose we do. The gnomes and the wishing well take up the whole of the garden. Peppa and George are very happy. And Grandpa Pig is very happy too. The